Hey, then tell us about this thing. Uko na storage ya hii mbao hii, uko na storage yake.
Ikuni, actually it's a long story. I really wanted something that would help me kneel and rise without being supported. So I asked someone through my father to make it for me. But he did such a poor job. Mpaka nikakasirika nayo. In fact, nilikuwa naita kuni, nilikuwa nataka ichomwe tumalize story yake kwa sababu sikuwa naona umuhimu wake. Ilitengenezwa vibaya sana. And I was very, very disappointed back then.
But it had been amazing how... Don't you remember?
I'm even shocked. Quite a nice story about it. Maybe for me, I saw like it's nice. What was the fault?
Oh, the fault. The fault was workmanship. It was not well done. Then I had wanted it to be put across. Ikisimamishwa inaweza utaona hii upande ni ya kupigia magoti, you kneel on it. Then the other side you hold yourself as you stand. So I needed a cross done that would be visible when someone is kneeling on it. But the cross that was done was not a cross. The person put a terribly done plus sign, and I knew it was not what I wanted to represent my faith. So I asked him to remove the plus sign, but there was nothing much to be done because it was not well done. That's why I thought it would better be destroyed.
Oh, I see.
Wow, then it's good it wasn't destroyed. Think about it. This is the same thing we have used severally and has been very helpful to us. When we were doing our skits and raising awareness on disability, this thing served as a counter in a pharmacy.
Yeah, and then it looked so nice.
Yeah, and actually,
it was very nice.
No one would have thought it is the same thing you wanted destroyed.
Destroyed. It's amazing that as a counter, it served the purpose because we needed a tabletop. And the tabletop served us very well in the pharmacy.
Exactly.
It's amazing how things that we can take for granted can be used or usable or of benefit to us in other areas of life.
Very same table. This same table that you actually wanted destroyed. It was worthless in your sight. Served us when you needed a house or like a cage for the child who had cerebral palsy.
Oh yes, true.
And it really did a good job.
It did a very good job. In fact, no one would ever guess. It was the same stand for kneeling on that, yes, I wanted to destroy. The same planks of wood that were useless to me looked very well as a cage that was used. Of course, it depicted something negative, but it worked so well to show how children and other people are caged so that they are kept aside and are thought not to be useful in society. So yes, the same wood turned another way. Because when it was standing, we used it as a pharmacy. Now when we turned it another way, it looked like a cage.
Yeah.
One
Very
has never seen.
Yeah, I totally understand you. It might have been not the best kneeling stand, but it have served a great purpose.
But you know, it is how one thing can be beneficial to me, and the other side, it can be beneficial to other people. It is only how you want to use it.
Now, remember the very same thing. Today, it would be a heap of ashes. When we are doing our home fellowships, isn't it the same thing that we use as a pulpit?
Oh yes,
The very same thing.
Wow. We used it as a pulpit. Yes.
Yeah.
It's amazing. I wish in life we would, even when we talk of disabilities or other challenges, what if we looked at it on the other side? What if we just stopped looking at it as you have said so well, it was a terrible kneeling stand. It was terrible. It was quite useless according to me. But God in his own way had other plans for it. It has been a wonderful pharmacy counter. It has been a wonderful cage. It has been a wonderful pulpit. What about the other things in our lives that we find challenging or useless? What if we looked at it in a different way? What if we stopped seeing disability as just caging or as limiting? What if we looked on the other side of it? What if God helped us to look at things differently?
Me, what I would like to add on what Rev is saying is looking at things from a positive point of view.
Mm-hmm.
It is all in
Sure.
the mind.
Yes. Not just seeing a glass as half full or half empty, but appreciating that at least you have a glass.
Yes.
Amen.
Yes,
True.
at least
True.
you have the glass.
You have the glass.
Yes.
In fact, I've been asking myself, what else does God have in store for this thing? What else could, with time, could we be enabled to think of, to use, and to make use of it for our awareness and our use together? What if we've been ignoring the glass and just thinking of the half-empty glass or the half-full glass, not even considering there is indeed a glass? So I think we have a lot to be grateful for,
Yes.
even in our very lives.
Another takeout get from this is like, I would rather see what I have, but not what I don't have,
Mhm.
and make use of what I have.
What you have.
Yes.
Exactly.
Reminds me of Exodus chapter 4, when the Lord asked Moses in verse 2, what do you have in your hand?
It's true.
And he says a staff. And the very same Moses in verse 10 has enough problems because he has a speech impairment. And God is asking him, who makes someone deaf or blind? And then he says in verse 17, take that staff with you. The very staff he'd been asked, what do you have in your hand? So maybe the Lord may not even use that which you think you don't have, that money, that job you don't have. The Lord may want to use something within your reach, something that had already declared useless. Here it is, and only God knows what it can do for us next time. So even with our very lives, may the Lord help me never to take anything for granted. Hatujui Mungu atatumia kitu kwa njia gani. Tunafaa tupokee na tumuombe atuwezeshe kutodharau ama kuona kitu ni kana kwamba hakina manufaa yake.
This is an eye opener to me, that I should know the plan of God in my life with what He has given me, not what I have. Truly enlightening.
This is something that you should keep.
Yeah.
This is not something that, because it has a great lesson.
A very great one.
Yeah. Because we always think like, what is that? I'm not able to do this. I should remember that in everything, you can do it through Christ who gives you the strength.
Amen. Philippians 4:13. Yes.
It has been enabled to capture so much,
So much.
and we have all been blessed.
We've all been blessed. It's only that we may not even get to know it's the one behind the scenes.
Yes.
For the pulpit, it was draped in blue. For the cage, it was covered with a net. So sometimes, may the Lord help us to just be used as vessels in His hands, whichever way He wants to use us, whether in obvious ways or in hidden ways. May we never take anything for granted. I'm so glad that even though there was a mistake done, that the Lord has given us something good out of a mess. So I'm very, very grateful today.
Amen.
Yes, I no longer take it for granted, in as much as I used to call it my firewood, kuni yangu. So it's no longer that kuni.
Well, the gifts of God don't have to be packaged in the way you think.
Yeah.
They can come in ways you might not appreciate. But eventually, the plan of God prevails.
Yeah. Well, when you see God in every creation.
Amen.
Wow.
Wow. Thank you, Lev, for enlightening us. I've learned a lot from this. The things that we take for granted. The small things that we take for granted might have been meant to take us to another level.
A true awareness.
Yeah.